It's the state of Maryland, but there were Maryland units in the Northern Army
Mm-hmm.
and Maryland units in the Southern Army.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know
Who it is?
who it was, but I have the button. And
Wow.
then I found 4 U.S. buckles, 3 belt buckles in a row, and they're evenly spaced and equally distanced from where the fence used to be. And that's where they laid out the wounded from the
Mm-hmm.
battle on the hill on my farm there. That's where they fought the battle there in front of JP's house.
Mm-hmm.
They fought all the way, a drop back fight all the way from Charlestown to Berryville.
Mm-hmm.
And Bowden was the
Right.
Confederate general in that battle, and I forget who the one was on the Yankees. But anyhow, I found a lot of bullets and stuff up on the hill there. I found one Confederate buckle that the the tongue,
Mm-hmm.
not the loop, where the tongue comes up through it
Mm-hmm.
and latches. Well, I found this part
Oh,
to it, and I got another one just like it that I found
this
at the
part.
corner of my house. Uh, uh, Before I built the porch on it, I just walked over there. The spouting came out there, and it kind of washed a little rivulet there. There was dirt, and
Mm-hmm.
I'm always looking at dirt,
Yeah.
arrowheads, bullets, and there was this buckle, and it was a Confederate.
Huh.
Now, I think that Hoff probably lived there during the Civil War. I think I can't prove it, but I want to research that
It
someday.
sounds like it. Yeah.
Likely he could have, but and then the apothecary jars in the attic,
Mm-hmm.
from the Hoff family. But uh, anyhow, I found this. I got this good reading, but it was deep. It's about
Mm-hmm.
6 inches deep. So I just kept digging down, and of course I just got a pointer, and so I kept pointing it because you don't want to tear up something if it's good, with
Mm-hmm.
a shovel handle. So I saw it was a piece of brass. So I dug around it, and I picked up a piece of brass about that big around. And I looked in I knew it was military because it's lined with a wreath all the way around in a heart shape.
Hmm.
And it's got an eagle with bent wings, with cannon barrels sticking out the sides of it, and then the arrows sticking out some places, and then a stack of cannonballs at the bottom, and there's some arrows, and I know it was military of some sort.
Yeah. It's not a breastplate, right? Of a horse or anything? What
It,
was it?
well, I was coming back from a meeting in Charleston, and I stopped there in Harrisonburg at the Amish place.
Mm-hmm.
You ever been there?
Mm-hmm.
Got that room with nothing but Civil War books
Mm-hmm.
in it. I can spend hours in there.
Mm-hmm.
That's where this came from. And I found a book on military hats and caps. And I started going through that book, and right in the middle of the book, there was my plaque. They stamped two of them. They were stamped in England between 18. I've got it written down. I should have brought that thing with me because I never remembered. But it was stamped in England. There were two different stamps. One was more elaborate than the other, and then what it was, there's a little, the front, the top is scalloped like this,
Mm-hmm.
and then it comes down like this. And right in one little piece of the brass, there's just a touch of rust. That's where they soldered the eyelet that held a plume. It was an officer's thing that went on the front of their top hat. It was a top hat, but it predates the Civil War. It goes back to the 1815s to 1854 or something like that. That it was so. Now, how did it get in my backyard? Did some Confederate soldier or some Union soldier? I don't think the Union was. They everything was standard. What
Right.
but probably some Confederate wearing Granddaddy's hat, and he was wounded, and that ended up in my backyard,
Mm.
and and but I don't know what the value of it is.
That's crazy.
But it predates the Civil War.
Yeah.
But now, how did it get there when the militiamen from John Brown's trial, that there were a bunch of militia units that came, and they couldn't all stay in Charlestown. They stayed in some private homes around private homes. I'm only 3 miles south of Charlestown, and that home there's only 3 homes, 4 homes, 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm probably the 5th home from Charlestown south that was there during the Civil War. I don't know if one of them was there or not, where Mrs. The Ford lady lived, and where Steve Stolper lives. I don't think that house was there during the Civil War. It might have been.
Well, Cassilis was there, right? Cassilis, that was there.
Cassilis, yeah, that's the Burns farm.
And then, what's that next one?
The next one would be the place where the lady, her husband owned the Ford garage here in Charlestown. Vinton, is that it? No. Oh, I knew her very well. She went to our church.
Oh. And then the one on Old Cave Road, isn't that about the same time? Those 3 houses, I thought they were about the same age. I thought there was another one out there. No? Because there was some architect or builder that made Mortington.
See, I've got 2 old homes on my farm. Okay. I got Cloverdale. That was a Lord Fairfax grant. And I've got 3 different foundations underneath my house. And there's stairways that don't go anywhere along the side of the wall. Well, that was the outside entrance into it. And I used to be up on my history, but I've forgotten so much of it now. But a Lord Fairfax grant, you had to build a permanent residence of a certain dimension. It had to, say, for example, 15 by 22. It had to be a certain size, and you had to live in it for a year before you could get a Fairfax grant. And then you paid a pittance of a few shillings for rent. It wasn't much, but just in order to bind the deal. And then there was a widow lady living there in the 1840s or 50s by the name of Hoff, and she rented the farm out, and that would be where Cloverdale is now. My father-in-law farmed that farm for several years, for about 10 years. In fact, my wife was born in the house where I live, and then she died in the house where she was born.
Really?
Yeah. Not very many people can say that. Born in the same room where she died. Let's see. Place, however, delivered to the said Francis Hoff for the sale and separate use annually. Oh, this is what she got. The widow Hoff said Francis R. Hoff for her. I don't know what that word is there, and sole use and separate use annually. She got 50 barrels of Indian corn and 5 barrels of flour, and permitting her to use and occupy the brick dwelling house and garden, and have the privilege of pasturage and the use of the orchard and spring, and as such straw as may be necessary for her stock, to 50 bushels of oats out of the, in testimony whereof the said Philip Hoff. That's in the courthouse in the deed.
Oh, okay.
That's where I got this, and it's in page 149. I think book 15, page 149, 1028. I don't know what 1828.
And where was that? Is that at the courthouse where you found that?
I got this out of the courthouse.
Okay.
So you could go to the book 15 on page 149, and you'll be able to read this better than it's handwritten. But that I've got more stuff that I didn't bring here.
I bet you got lots of stuff.
I've got stuff that I got old maps. I know you have copies of that.
Mm-hmm.
That's really interesting. They destroyed the one at Ripon.
What do you mean?
Well,
That copy of the book?
No, they took the monument.
Oh, the monument out. Yeah.
It has all the monuments in the county,
Mm-hmm.
and the battle and the description of the battle that was fought there. There was one on my farm, and when they built the road, they took it. Somebody took it. And I don't know whether it ended up in Ripon. Someone told me it ended up in somebody's backyard right behind